Deion Sanders explains Shedeur Sanders' decision to nix Ravens draft pick. A recent report indicated Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders requested the Baltimore Ravens not select him in the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Deion Sanders defended his son's decision and mindset in an appearance on the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce. How in the world can someone fault him for saying or thinking, "Why in the world would I go back up Lamar Jackson for 10 more years?" the elder Sanders said, discussing Shedeur. Like, who comes in with that mindset? Sanders further revealed both he and his son had spoken with current Ravens Executive Vice President of Player Personnel Ozzie Newsome on the phone during the draft. Sanders and Newsome have a pre-existing relationship from Sanders' 2 seasons with the Ravens in 2004 and 2005, so the two are cool, as the Colorado coach stated. Sanders declined to discuss the specifics of the phone calls, but implied it was important for his son to go to a team where he would have a chance to earn playing time. NFL Stat Central. The latest NFL scores, schedules, odds, stats, and more. Where do these guys come from that sit on these platforms and say, "Oh, you should have sat in behind and learned the game and been developed," Sanders wondered. When have the pros ever developed anybody? By the time you get to the NFL, they expect you to know what you need to do and to do it, or somebody else going to get in there and do it. "I've never sat on the bench and said, 'Well, I learned a lot today,'" Sanders later added, eliciting uproarious laughter and hearty affirmation from the Kelce brothers. Shedeur Sanders, when Brown's rookie QB could play. Thus far, the younger Sanders has largely remained on the bench in Cleveland after earning the team's third-string job behind Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel. Sanders was given ample opportunity to play in 2 preseason games and jockey for positioning on Cleveland's depth chart. The 23-year-old may have a path to playing time if Flacco continues to struggle. The 40-year-old has guided Cleveland to a 1-2 record through 3 weeks while completing 61.1% of his passes for 631 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Sanders would still have to eventually leapfrog Gabriel, a fellow rookie, to get see the field. His father remains confident that will happen at some point during his rookie season. "You know, I got a prediction. I ain't telling nobody. I got a feeling when it's gonna go down," Sanders said of his son getting playing time. "But it's gonna go down this year. He's gonna get a shot." The NFL Draft has always been more than just a spectacle of flashing lights, commissioner handshakes, and young men donning their first pro hats. It's a chessboard where careers can be shaped or stunted by the slightest move. And when Shedeur Sanders' name was pulled into the swirling draft day drama earlier this year, it wasn't just about him. It was about his father, Deion Sanders, a Hall of Fame cornerback turned cultural icon, whose voice continues to echo as loudly in football as it once did on the field. When word surfaced that Shedeur Sanders and his camp had steered away from the Baltimore Ravens, yes, the same Ravens with Lamar Jackson leading the charge, many analysts shook their heads. To some, it looked like arrogance. To others, it was strategy. But Deion, he framed it differently, painting the decision as a long-term vision rather than a short-sighted snub. A father's explanation. On his podcast and in interviews, Deion laid it out plainly, "My son ain't built to hold a clipboard for nobody." For prime time, this wasn't disrespect toward Jackson or the Ravens. It was a matter of fit, timing, and destiny. Baltimore is Lamar's kingdom, and Lamar is still young, still dynamic, still signed long-term. For Shedeur to walk into that environment, Deion argued, would have been like planting a seed in the shade. No sunlight, no room to grow. You don't take a quarterback in the first round just to have him standing on the sidelines for 3 years, waiting for a shot that might never come, Deion explained. Shedeur is ready now. He's been ready. He needs a place where he can fail, succeed, and learn in real time. And that, in Deion's mind, eliminated Baltimore from the equation. The Ravens' conundrum. The Ravens are not a bad franchise to land in. Far from it. Stability, tradition, and a top-tier defense make Baltimore one of the NFL's most respected organizations. But stability can be a curse for a young quarterback. Unlike situations where aging stars are nearing retirement, Lamar Jackson is entrenched as the face of the franchise for the foreseeable future. Had Shedeur gone there, his career might have mirrored that of Jordan Love in Green Bay, sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for seasons on end. But where Love finally inherited the reins, there's no telling if Lamar would ever relinquish them. For Shedeur, who spent years carving his own identity under the looming shadow of his father, that scenario wasn't appealing. Waiting in the wings could have risked erasing momentum he's been building since his days at Jackson State and Colorado. Beyond X's and O's. What Deion emphasized, though, wasn't just playing time, it was brand. The Sanders name is more than a last name. It's a brand tied to swagger, individuality, and seizing the spotlight. Deion understands as well as anyone that football today isn't just about wins and losses. It's about marketability, endorsements, and storytelling. Shedeur has his own lane, Deion reminded critics. You put him in Baltimore, and it's Lamar's city. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but my son needs his own city, his own team, his own story. Baltimore would have been safe. But safe doesn't sell. Safe doesn't inspire. Safe doesn't turn a young quarterback into a leader of men. The Cleveland gamble. Instead of Baltimore, Shedeur found himself in Cleveland, an organization long starved for quarterback stability, long battered by draft day curses. For some, it seemed like walking into a haunted house. But for Deion, it was an opportunity. In Cleveland, Shedeur wouldn't be Lamar's backup. He'd be the guy. The weight of the city's football hunger, the legacy of heartbreak, the yearning for a savior, it would all rest on his shoulders. And that's exactly the kind of fire Deion believes will forge his son into something special. Pressure makes diamonds, Prime said. Cleveland is pressure. And Shedeur? He's a diamond waiting to shine. Critics clap back. Not everyone buys into Deion's narrative. Analysts have been quick to point out the risks of spurning established franchises like Baltimore. The Ravens are winners. The Browns, historically, are not. Some see this as a gamble that could derail Shedeur's career before it ever takes off. What's better, one columnist asked, holding a clipboard for a few years in a winning system or throwing into the fire for a team that chews up quarterbacks and spits them out? It's a valid question. But for the Sanders family, risk isn't something to be avoided, it's something to be embraced. A legacy at stake. At its core, this decision wasn't just about Shedeur's next season. It was about legacy. Deion Sanders isn't just a father giving advice. He's a man who's lived the spotlight, thrived under pressure, and rewritten the rules of what an athlete can be. He sees in Shedeur not just a quarterback, but a continuation of the Sanders legacy, a story that must be told boldly, not quietly.